Welcome to my channel. So this is my latest attempt to make compost juice or compost tea or super juice, whatever it's called. I'm never really sure. Some people say the compost tea is more about creating the bubbles. I don't really know, but what I'm doing here is using food scraps to make some fertilizer for my balcony plants. And it's also a form of using food scraps that would normally just go into the rubbish landfill, wherever they take it. I live in an apartment in the UK, in London, and I live in a block where they don't separately take away the organic waste to be reused or processed in some sensible way. I think most of it just ends up in some landfill somewhere. So I try and use some of the food scraps. I don't have enough plants to use all the food scraps, but every so often, especially this time of year, it's now March 2023. It's the growing season is about to start, and my understanding is that fertilizer should be applied around this time of year when plants are about to start growing again, rather than when they're dormant during winter. So this is my latest fertilizer, and I'm using this storage bucket, you could call it. It's 6 liters, and I have been brewing this for about a week, and I've just been adding food scraps every day. I started with some peels and leftovers, and I've just been adding to it throughout the week. And now, so I started I think last Sunday or Monday, and it's now Saturday, and this is a week's worth of food scraps. And the water I added is filtered water, which I use. I have a Berkey water filter, so I use that. And now, and what's interesting is, because I don't have a lid on this, I keep it open, I keep it in my kitchen, it doesn't smell. Honestly, it's got a very pleasant smell actually, because there's lots of orange and citrusy lemon things in here, and because I kept it open, it doesn't smell at all. Not a problem. I think if I had a lid on it, maybe it would be different, but now the water is now turning, you know, brown. I'll go through what I have in here, but I'm going to use this today, and I've got about 16 different things in here. So if I go through the list, which I need to look at my notes briefly. So I have orange peels, mandarin peels, lots of peels, banana peels, onion peels, garlic peels, although I don't really peel onions and garlic, because I understand that there's lots of benefits in the skin of fruit and veg, but I do sometimes peel the outer layer occasionally, so I use those leftovers and heads of lettuce and spring onions, red chicory that's spoiled is in here, used ginger that I put in my coffee, used tea bags, and the tea that's in here includes rooibos tea, chamomile, green tea, and used coffee grounds. I have lots of coffee grounds. I drink lots of coffee. This is the latest pile of coffee grounds that I have, which I collect. I have a video about how I keep this and how I keep it so that it doesn't grow mold. And this is something I've been doing for nearly 2 years now, and you can see there's no mold and it dries out. So you can watch my video on that if you're interested. Avocado peels, ends of carrots. I don't peel carrots, so I just cut off the ends. Those are in here. And shells from peanuts or ground nuts, and also pistachio nuts, and used lemons as well. So that's about 16 different things in here that's been brewing. And occasionally I have added some warm water in here as well to just speed up the process. So everything that you would normally compost, I have just added in here. And you can see this is the banana peels, and there is the shells of the, where is it? I just saw it. Of the ground nuts. So, oh yeah, pistachio and ground nuts. I've been putting them in here. I use those for mulch as well. Again, I've made a video about that. So that's, so this is it. So it's ready to be used. And what I'm going to do is just use this jug. To kind of filter the water. Bit messy this, but it's okay. I have a very small kitchen, not much space, but if you live in an apartment and you're thinking of ways to use your food scraps, this is one way to do it without creating smells and mess. And then I will of course throw away the leftovers, or you can reuse it, but I'm sure I'll have more food scraps next week, so at least I'll feel like I've got the most out of these leftovers. Maybe if I left it for another week, the water would be darker, but let's see. I probably will also dilute this with some water, just so it's not maybe too strong, because I'm not an expert and I don't want to overdo it. So I might dilute it with fresh water before I water my plants. And you can see this is the juice. It looks quite nice. Looks like apple juice. Maybe I should be drinking this. Let me smell it. Yeah, it smells very citrusy actually. And I did put a little bit of vinegar as well, just to help draw out some of the goodness and nutrition. So I'll keep doing this, and I will apply this to my plants, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. And this is, as I mentioned, 6 liters, so there should be enough, especially once I dilute it, for all of my balcony plants. One thing I am concerned about is usually when I water my plants, you know, some water ends up on the ground, and I don't want to create an environment on my balcony where mold and other things start appearing because of this. But that hasn't been a problem in the past, and I don't do this. Maybe I do this once a quarter, so hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. Here's the balcony garden. It's a grey day today, and I've got more compost juice brewing outside, so that's another option if you don't want to keep it inside. And what I'm going to do, actually, I decided not to dilute because I really don't think it's very strong, and this is the beginning of the season, so I'm just going to try without diluting it and see what happens. And I'm going to apply it to this rosemary first, because this rosemary, you'll know if you've watched my other videos, is suffering some kind of stunted growth. So I think it needs it more than maybe some of the other plants, and you can see that it's not in the best of health. So just going to try a little bit there. These are some spring onions that I'm also growing from leftover food scraps. A little there, not too much, because I don't want it leaking under and losing this valuable fertilizer. And I'm going to water some of these leeks I'm also growing from leftovers. This is an example of food scraps feeding other food scraps. So that's it, one jug done. I'll come back and do some more. And another thing about fertilizing this way is that my understanding is that liquid fertilizer like compost tea is a quicker, it's more bioavailable, so it's more easily and quickly absorbed, more readily absorbed than solid fertilizers. So I guess it's a quick win, and maybe I'll see quicker results. So I'll keep doing this until I finish the 6 liters, and hopefully I'll start seeing the results as spring gets going. I hope this is useful, especially for those living in small spaces, in apartments, who are struggling to find ways to reuse and dispose of food scraps the right way, or you know, make use of them. I always feel really I wish there was a better way of using the food scraps and food waste that we generate for those of us who live in cities. It just doesn't seem to be the systems and processes in place to allow us or enable us to do that. So this is one solution. It's not, you know, ideal, but at least it's something, and it's a good way. It's free fertilizer as well, so hopefully I'll get some good results. So a couple of things I just wanted to add. So once I'm done with the compost tea, you can see I have finished almost. This is the last jug, and I noticed the water was actually getting a lot darker as I got to the end of the 6 liter. So this last jug I have actually diluted with water and will be used shortly. And I am also adding a little bit of molasses into this last jug, because that's also, it's this brand, also can be good for stunted growth. It's a bit of an energy boost for plants, a bit like sugar for us. So I'm adding a little bit of that to this, and again I'm feeding that to the rosemary. And I forgot there was it wasn't 16, it's 17 things that were in the among the food scraps, and that's eggshells that I forgot. So I had lots of crushed eggshells in the among the food scraps for a bit of calcium. I don't know how readily available the calcium is when because I just crushed the eggs, and I know the calcium takes time. So I mean, in any case, I had eggshells in the food scraps. That's what I wanted to add. And last thing is, once I'm done with using the juice, is how I dispose of the food scraps. That's what I wanted to share. And the thing is that, and I have done a video about this as well, is I try and use these bags. So it's not ideal, clearly, buying vegetables and fruit in plastic bags, but often we don't have a choice, and it's just what it is. So once I have, so this had kale in it, and I bought it in September. It's now March, so I kept the bag, and I do this every week. I don't buy bags to use, you know, for bins or trash cans. I always reuse these bags, and so that's what I've done. This bag had kale in it, and now I have put all of the food scraps that were in this 6-liter bucket, and also in another jug that was outside, and I've put it all in here. So this is another way to reuse bags if you have them. Ideally we shouldn't, but we do, so this is a good way to use them. And I'm just gonna tie this and throw it away. So if you don't have a choice about these plastic bags and you end up with them, there could be a replacement for the bin bags. There's no really need for us to buy bin bags. We can just reuse these, and I always do that. I don't remember the last time I bought bin bags. So you save money and you're reusing as well. So that's something I wanted to add. And one more thing is that if you don't want to throw away these food scraps, 2 things: you can brew another compost tea from it, or you could put it in a blender and make a compost smoothie. I have done that. Again, I've made a video about that. So if you really don't want to throw this away, that's another option. Just put this in a blender, add water, anything else you want to add, maybe some newspapers to add some carbon, and turn that into some kind of juice, dilute, and it becomes more of this. I'm not going to do that this time because I've just got too much. I don't have enough plants. I wish, but that's another option. Maybe next time, in the summer, during the height of the season when it's very hot and I need to water more, I will be doing that. So make some compost juice, then use the blender to turn this into more juice, and then we'll feed the plants. Then there will be no food scraps left. So that would be the ideal scenario. But that's it for today. So thank you again for watching. I hope this was of some use, and see you next time. Bye.